Dr. Peter Williams was an esteemed surgeon at the renowned Sunshine Hospital in sunny Florida. He was known for his steady hands, sharp mind, and unwavering dedication to his patients. Dr. Williams had performed countless critical operations throughout his career, saving numerous lives. However, there was one operation that haunted him, a surgery that ended in tragedy. It was a dark and stormy night when a gravely injured patient named John Anderson was rushed into the emergency room. John had been involved in a horrific car accident and required immediate surgical intervention to survive. Dr. Williams, being the seasoned professional that he was, wasted no time and prepared for the operation. The surgery was complex, the patient's condition critical. Dr. Williams and his team fought against time, their every move precise and deliberate. As the hours passed by, tension hung thick in the air, and the beeping of machines provided a dissonant soundtrack to their efforts. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the operation concluded. Exhausted but hopeful, Dr. Williams removed his blood-stained gloves and informed John's family of the surgery's success. They eagerly awaited news of his recovery, grateful for the doctor's skilled hands that had fought so valiantly to save their loved one. Dr. Williams retreated to his office, feeling a mix of relief and satisfaction. However, as the night grew darker, an uneasy feeling settled upon Dr. Williams. He couldn't shake the thought that something was amiss. Doubts gnawed at his conscience, and an inexplicable sense of impending doom clung to him like a shadow. Unable to ignore the nagging sensation, he decided to return to John's room to check on his patient once more. Dr. Williams entered the room to find the bed empty, the crisp white sheets untouched. Panic gripped his heart as he frantically searched the room, hoping to find John elsewhere in the hospital. But there was no sign of him. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. Desperate for answers, Dr. Williams sought out the nurse who had been assigned to John's care. She, too, was perplexed by the patient's sudden disappearance. After a thorough investigation, it became apparent that John Anderson had succumbed to his injuries during the operation. His lifeless body was found in the hospital morgue. Devastated and guilt-ridden, Dr. Williams blamed himself for failing his patient. He couldn't fathom how he had missed such a crucial detail. The weight of his sorrow pressed heavily upon him as he left the hospital, his steps slow and burdened. In the depths of the night, as Dr. Williams entered the empty elevator to make his way home, a chill ran down his spine. The doors closed and the elevator began its descent. The dim lights flickered, casting eerie shadows upon the walls. Suddenly, a figure materialized in the corner, the unmistakable silhouette of John Anderson. Dr. Williams gasped, frozen in terror as the ghostly apparition stared at him with hollow eyes. John's features were twisted in agony, his spectral form emanating an otherworldly presence. The lift descended further into the bowels of the hospital, the air thick with an ominous energy. Unable to bear the haunting sight, Dr. Williams clutched his chest in agony. A searing pain shot through his heart. His breath labored. The realization struck him like a thunderbolt. John's ghost had caused him to suffer a heart attack. As the elevator doors creaked open on the ground floor, hospital staff rushed to Dr. Williams's aid. But it was too late. The doctor's body lay lifeless on the floor, his eyes fixed in a haunting expression of terror and regret. News of Dr. Peter Williams' tragic demise spread throughout the hospital, leaving the staff shaken and bewildered. The legend of his encounter with John Anderson's vengeful spirit would echo through the halls for years to come, a chilling reminder of the consequences of human fallibility. To this day, some claim to have seen Dr. Williams' ghostly figure roaming the corridors of Sunshine Hospital, perpetually tormented by the ghost of the patient he couldn't save. The tragic tale serves as a cautionary reminder of the fragility of life, the weight of responsibility, and the haunting power of guilt. Once upon a time in Thailand, there was a small hospital nestled on the outskirts of a serene lake. This hospital had a morgue that required constant vigilance, even during the dead of night. The responsibility of overseeing this morbid section fell upon the shoulders of a security guard named Somchai. Somchai was a middle-aged man who had seen his fair share of eerie occurrences during his time as a security guard. He had heard rumors of supernatural encounters within the hospital walls, but had never experienced anything firsthand. As the new security guard assigned to the morgue, He was determined to prove to himself and others that such tales were nothing more than baseless folklore. One fateful night, Somchai entered the hospital grounds, oblivious to the chilling events that awaited him. The moon hung high in the sky, casting an ethereal glow on the deserted corridors. Somchai's footsteps echoed as he made his way toward the morgue, keys jangling in his trembling hand. As he stepped through the doors, the sterile scent of disinfectant and cold metal greeted him. Rows of body drawers lined the walls, each one containing the remains of the departed. Somchai brushed off a shiver crawling up his spine and began his rounds, inspecting each drawer with meticulous care. Hours passed, and the night wore on without incident. Somchai started to believe that the tales were indeed mere figments of imagination. That was until he approached the last drawer on his list, the one that held the body of a beautiful young girl who had drowned in the nearby lake. With trembling hands, Somchai unlocked the drawer and pulled it open. The girl's lifeless form lay before him, her features frozen in an eternal slumber. Despite her tragic demise, she possessed an otherworldly beauty that even death couldn't extinguish. Suddenly, a frigid gust of wind filled the room, blowing out the flickering lights overhead. Somchai's heart raced as he felt an icy breath on the back of his neck. He turned around slowly, dreading what he might find. To his horror, a spectral figure stood before him, the drowned girl, her eyes devoid of life, her expression twisted with rage. A guttural, otherworldly shriek pierced the silence, resonating through the morgue. Somchai stumbled backward, his eyes widening with terror. The ghostly apparition lunged at him, its ethereal fingers extending like claws. Somchai managed to dodge the attack, his heart pounding in his chest. Desperate to escape, he sprinted out of the morgue, leaving the spirit behind in the darkness. The next day, Somchai arrived at work pale and shaken. He promptly resigned from his position, determined never to set foot in that hospital again. He hoped that by severing his ties, he could leave the haunting experience behind. Time passed, and the hospital hired a new security guard to take Somchai's place. Oblivious to the horrors that awaited him, the new guard settled into his role. The management, wanting to ensure all protocols were being followed, decided to review the CCTV footage from the previous night. As they scrutinized the recordings, their blood ran cold. The security footage showed the exact moment when the vengeful spirit had attacked Somchai. The ghostly figure was captured in all its wrathful glory, terrifyingly real and undeniably dangerous. The morgue management tracked down Somchai, determined to uncover the truth. They confronted him with the footage, and Somchai, his voice quivering, confirmed the horrifying encounter. He explained how the drowned girl's ghost had haunted him relentlessly, even after he had left his job. The hospital administration, now fully aware of the malevolent presence, knew they had to take action. They sought the help of spiritual experts and performed ancient rituals to pacify the restless spirit. Slowly but surely, the hauntings ceased, and the hospital was once again able to provide peace to the departed. Somchai, scarred by his harrowing experience, found solace in sharing his story with others, warning them of the dangers that lurked within the hospital's morgue. His tale served as a reminder that some things are better left undisturbed, and that in the darkest corners of the world, there are forces that defy explanation and challenge the very fabric of our reality. Once upon a time in the heart of Texas, there lived a young boy named Josh. Life had always been ordinary for Josh, until that fateful night when he was admitted to the local hospital. Little did he know that his stay would take a terrifying turn, plunging him into a nightmare he could never escape. Josh, a shy and imaginative boy, found himself confined to a sterile hospital room. The pale walls seemed to close in on him, and the constant beeping of machines served as an unsettling soundtrack. Nightfall brought an eerie calm that stirred the shadows and awakened the spirits that dwelled within. It was during one such night that Josh first encountered the malevolent entity. As the clock struck midnight, a bone-chilling coldness filled the air. Josh's heart raced, sensing an ominous presence lurking nearby. He pulled the covers tight around him, trying to shake off his escalating fear. Underneath his bed, a pair of bloodshot eyes glowed with a sinister intensity. The ghostly figure, an embodiment of anguish and malice, slowly emerged. Its tattered, ethereal form drifted closer to Josh, emitting an eerie wail that chilled him to the core. Josh tried to scream, but his voice was paralyzed by terror. The ghost lunged at him, its cold, bony fingers stretching towards his trembling body. Desperate, Josh managed to scramble out of bed, racing towards the door, his heart pounding in his chest. Nurses and doctors rushed to his aid, finding him in a state of shock and disbelief. They reassured Josh that it was merely a figment of his imagination, a product of the medications he was taking. But deep down, Josh knew that what he had witnessed was all too real. Night after night, the ghost returned with increasing malevolence. It haunted Josh's dreams, manifesting as nightmarish visions that merged with his waking reality. The ghost's attacks grew more intense, leaving Josh with visible bruises and marks on his frail body. Determined to put an end to the relentless torment, Josh began to document every encounter, capturing chilling details in a journal. He sketched the ghost's ghastly visage, hoping to unravel the mystery that shrouded this vengeful spirit. As his health deteriorated, Josh's investigations caught the attention of the hospital staff. They expressed concern for his mental state, suspecting that he was succumbing to delusions or hallucinations. Nevertheless, they couldn't ignore the growing evidence of his physical injuries. One fateful night, while the moon cast an eerie glow through the hospital window, Josh's struggle came to a tragic end. The ghost, sensing his impending demise, launched a final brutal attack. The hospital staff found him lifeless, his body cold and motionless. The police were called to investigate Josh's untimely death, but the truth remained elusive. The ghostly presence that haunted him had vanished, leaving behind unanswered questions and shattered lives. The investigation delved deep into the paranormal, as witnesses spoke of strange occurrences and unexplained phenomena within the hospital's walls. To this day, the case remains open, haunting the minds of those who encountered the tale. The spirit that once dwelled beneath Josh's bed continues to wander, its thirst for revenge unsatisfied. As we reflect on Josh's harrowing story, let it serve as a chilling reminder that not all mysteries can be solved, and the supernatural forces that lurk in the shadows may forever defy our understanding. With each video, we summon the most bone-chilling stories, weaving a web of suspense and terror that will haunt your dreams. Our channel is a haven for all those who crave the thrill of the unknown, those who seek the adrenaline rush of a terrifying tale that lingers long after the screen fades to black. Hit that subscribe button now, and remember to leave the lights on. You never know what might be lurking just around the corner.